Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Live from hot Atlanta, Georgia. It is What is Wrong with the Right Direction? This is your host, Rob Boyce. I am the voice and co-writer of the song, What is Wrong with the Right Direction? This is a three-part series where we'll be showcasing my life. The host, the founder, and evidently I am the only one with the copyrights to this mysterious song that was handed to me in grand Jim Morrison style. What is wrong with the right direction? For those that have not listened to part one of the initial launch, let me recap a little bit about not only what the structure of the podcast is going to be like, but as well as kind of go back, give you, I don't know, just a quick overview of what was discussed last time. But basically, I guess I've been holding on to the pictures that I have uploaded. I've held on to this song that's been magically given to me. All of this stuff I've had for some time, for a few years now. This spotlight on this podcast that's going to be talking about my life is going to be a 3-part series. I say 3-part series, but I'm already in part 2 of the 1-part series, which is today. What the heck are these shadow things and a gift from God? That is the title of part 2 today. And basically, like I've said before, my life, it's been a whirlwind, and it could be probably, if you were to shoot a movie about my life, you could have about 4 or 5 different genres. When we go to spotlight the beginning of my life, which will be the 3rd part of the series, that's going to kind of, I'm kind of doing this Star Wars style. Right now I'm starting in the middle. I want to kind of explain how the title of the podcast came about, and the significance of just being able to listen to God through just turmoil. And I and once I discuss these shadow people, I'm going to get into how I felt like my demeanor had changed. I felt like I was a different person. I've actually witnessed 2 full-blown events like I have on the picture. By the way, my picture, and I'll explain about it later. Let me see if I can send this out on my message board. Nope. Hold on one second. And again, just so the format of this podcast is really, I'm going through a 3-part series. I'd like either a book to be written, or some kind of a documentary, a film, a play. I feel like that this would be an inspiration to other people. I've been a professional tennis player. That was the beginning of my life. That'll be part 3 of the series. in the midst of a really not a very good childhood, and tennis was my escape, if you will, outside the house. It was I had control of the environment. Uh, the one major light in my life was my grandfather, and he was a professional tennis player before the war. World War II came, and I guess I was just bound and determined to outdo him. And for a fleeting moment, I did make the pros, and that will be another topic in another series. Um, Star Wars style. So we're hopping into the middle of my life. I'm in my 30s. Um, I have, I guess you could say, I've I've always had a little bit of a sixth sense. Not that I've really tried to get in tune with it. I wouldn't say that I'm psychic for any means. However, my mother, um, my mother and her sisters, they they go to psychics all the time. They've always done that, and I'm not really familiar with it. It's something that I just don't want uh, to dabble into. I'd rather get uh, my messages from the source himself. I guess not that there's anything wrong with any psychics or anything, um, but you know, I they've always told my mom and her and my aunts that boy that Rob has got an old soul, and there's something about him. Hey, look, I am special. I'm not going to lie. I'm very special, but I don't know whatever they meant. I do know that the day that I got on camera, this portal, if you will, that I got on camera on a picture, is a portal of demons. I didn't know what was going on. Um, it was the it was I, I have a 12-year-old daughter, and my ex and I had planned for our daughter, and both of us had planned our daughter really to relieve both of us on a troubled childhood. That was our relief. We were going to be able to live our life, um, you know, and ease our past by doing the right thing with our daughter. Everything that we couldn't do or experience in our childhood, our daughter was the plan to make everything hunky dory, and and patching the past up so we can move forward. And albeit it's kind of worked out that way, but um, I I had to leave my ex, and it was I had strong suspicions of infidelity, and from very reliable sources and just gut instinct. And I had a career where I was traveling 95% of the time, so I hunkered down at my parents' house, which was the neighborhood, thank God, next to my neighborhood. And so seeing my daughter was no problem. But I at the time that uh, that that I saw this portal beginning, I'm separated. I am so worried about my child. There's a lot of things that I won't get into about the person she's married to now, who we're all friends. And again, it will go back to the message I got with what is wrong with the right direction. But you know, that was such a troubling time. Um, my whole world flips upside down. You got a child involved, and I was pretty angry at at the fact that uh, I had to I had to uproot and leave. I had to come home. I came home and basically packed my bags and left, just because what was done and who it was done with was just unexcusable. And I had, my daughter was 4, and so I wasn't going to try to at the time say anything bad about the mother, but I knew that was something that I would have to wait years upon years down the road to kind of fully explain why Daddy came home from Denver and then just packed his bags and went to his parents' house. So, with that said, so in the earlier podcast, I had kind of gone in depth of more of along the lines of what was occurring from the time that I witnessed this portal to the time that we were, going at each other's throat, um, and I took the brunt of it. Just a real quick overview. I made pretty good money in my career. Now, her now husband is where I thought I was making 6 figures, and I thought that was just unbelievable. Well, that's a drop in the bucket compared to what her now husband is worth. And hey, I wish him well. I'm not wishing any harm on him. He does well. But you guys can do the math on that one. And as folks have skeletons in their closet, I knew a lot about both of them. Both my ex and I had known her now husband and ex-wife, and we had known them for years as a couple, and so I knew stuff about him as well. And when someone knows secrets, what usually happens is they usually fall into a pile of cow dung. And that's what happened to me. And I equate a lot of my attitude. Let me preface everything by saying I tried to do, in my head, I was trying to do everything for my kid, and to make sure that my daughter was okay. But some of the thoughts and some of my actions and the overall anger I had, which I am, looking back, I'm going to say that I think a lot of that had to do with being witness of these demons, and not being aware enough of the good forces that God provides. And so real quick, from the time that I witnessed this phenomenon, till the time that I woke up thinking it was a Doors song that I've never heard. And by the way, I'm a historian of the Doors. I am a huge Jim Morrison fan. Keep your eyes on the road, your hands upon the wheel. He's the greatest. Nobody will ever be like Jim Morrison, in my opinion. The future's uncertain. The end is always near, and that's the truth. But what is wrong with the right direction? That song woke me up. I thought it was coming out of my Kindle or my phone. It was the day that the LA Woman album studio recordings came out. It was also the 2 days before I was going to court after being run around the ringer through jail for a year, in and out of jail, losing my career. You name it. I had no drive. I got a DUI and sitting in my driveway, no keys in the car, texting a friend of mine about going to pick up my daughter. So there was a obviously, when you have money, you get friends in low places, and I fell in every trap that was set based on my daughter. Um, it was horrible. I had spent 10 years configuring 911 dispatch centers. I had been part of the quote unquote good guys, and lo and behold, um, a day that I'm supposed to fly out and solve a humongous issue in Iowa, I get two cops who I thought were escorting me to the airport, which I've had escorts before to fix problems, albeit it's been in Atlanta. Um, they were actually there to arrest me, and you go from packing up and getting ready to go to the airport, uh, thinking of your the things you got to do to for your day to day career to you're sitting in a jail cell, um, in a jail outfit because you violated a TPO, temporary restraining order, that your lawyer said you could FaceTime your daughter. She got permission. And so again, I stepped in the cow dung. My lawyers were paid off, cops were paid off, and I was just and I was just in a downward spiral. I mean, I think I was felt like I was 6 feet underground. I was swimming in the ocean with 1,000-pound weights strapped to my side. And that's where the song, as I'm celebrating that from a lawyer that I kept undisclosed, I kept incognito, way outside the Atlanta area. I had a whopping $8,000 left of 90,000 I had in my 401k, all of which to that point went to bailing me out of the situation that I had stepped into that week. I was averaging $4,000 a week in lawyer fees, just bailing me out. And I tell you, I was angry, I was fed up, I was concerned, I was sick of it, and and I was that night. I was partying. My lawyer had found the paper trail to prove everything in court. We were going to court. I was gonna win my. I was I was gonna beat her down. I was going to save my name, and I was going to get compensated. And I was pumped. And you're talking. I passed out from. I had $12 left in my account, and spent it on some cheap champagne and partied and listened to the LA Woman recordings with them in the studio. LA Woman's one of the greatest albums of all time. And I was just a kid in a candy store. Everything was going to go great. And 4 in the morning, I get woken up to this song. What is wrong with the right direction? Yeah. Well, I start hearing that. It's Jim Morrison, it's the Doors. And I wake up and I'm going, I've never heard this song. And I hear, something's wrong with life's direction. Yeah, yeah, yeah. To get you back to the right connections. Yeah. Something's wrong with the right direction. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. What is wrong with life's redemption? Yeah. Right is wrong. Wrong is right. What is wrong with the right direction. Yeah. I mean, it's all Jim Morrison. It's the Doors in the background. And I am frantically looking where this song is coming from. I had my Kindle next to me, turned to my Kindle, tried to turn it on, completely dead. Okay, it must be from my phone. I must have left my phone on, go to my phone, it's dead. Okay, so this song is getting louder in my head, and I'm like, certainly, first of all, being a Doors enthusiast, a historian, I'm like, I've never heard this song. And it sounded like, if everyone knows the Doors, each album had an epic song. They were first to create the epic songs, The End, When the Music's Over, Riders on the Storm, et cetera, et cetera. And it was an epic sounding song. And I'm like, where is this coming from? So I said, well, maybe someone's out in the parking lot. I was staying at a hotel at the time. Opened the hotel door. All I hear is crickets chirping. Okay, so last resort, last places could be, as I was at the end of the hotel, would be the room next door. I put my ear to my wall, and all I can hear is my neighbor snoring. So at that point, as the song's getting louder, I decide to jot down the lyrics and actually end up recording on plugged my Kindle in, got a little juice. There was a little audio app, and I tried to just record what the tune was. Now, anyone that knows anything about Jim Morrison is that this is exactly, basically how he wrote his songs. He knew nothing about music. He and it's interesting. Where did the name The Doors come from? Well, it came from Huxley's poem, The Doors of Perception. There are things known, there are things unknown, and everything in between. There are the doors of perception, the doors of looking through portals. It's very deep, and and that's kind of how he would get his songs. He would use LSD to basically get his mind in between the subconscious, where he felt like he could hop in between these portals, and that those are where the most of the songs came. And then he'd hum just like I'm doing. What is wrong with the right direction? Yeah. Then you'd get the band that would come in, and all of a sudden, there's a number one hit. Just, I've always said you take the four of those guys, Robbie Krieger, John Densmore, Ray Manzarek, and Jim Morrison, and you take them and put them in individual bands. You take them and split them up. You don't know who they are. But the four of them, it was just a force. It was just something. And they've always, I've been researching these guys since I was 15. So you can imagine my excitement that, oh my gosh, there's a song I haven't heard. And so now I'm left with, what is going on here? I am hearing this song and I don't know where it's coming from. So I end up writing the lyrics down. I have these lyrics somewhere in storage. This is the lyrics that are just burnt to my head right now. But I'm sitting there going, okay, I am not consciously writing this song. I'm not. I am sitting there. I'm actually got my ear out going, okay, what is wrong with the right direction? I'm writing, and I hear something's wrong with life's direction. Yeah, and I'm writing it down. And this is so Jim Morrison style. So as this is going on, I'm going, well, if I'm writing this, then I'm doing this very Jim Morrison style. And if I'm doing this, where is this music coming from? And I ended up focusing my attention on that. It was about 4 a.m. I was up. And the song just keep going through my head. And like I said, at 11 o'clock before I passed out from cheap champagne, I was ready to take my ex down. I didn't think about my daughter. I didn't think about any repercussions. I wanted revenge. All those times in jail, you know, sitting there my first time, uh, being in the holding cell before you go up to your pod. It's like it's like Andy Dufresne in the Shawshank Redemption. Riding that bus to the prison, and you get out, fresh fish, fresh fish, fresh fish. Well, as I'm talking to people, what are you in for? Well, I robbed the pawn shop. Yeah, I'm a drug dealer. Well, what are you in for, bud? Well, I'm in for FaceTiming my daughter. So that was my life at the time. Stuff like that. Getting a DUI in your driveway, and I fell right into it. Of course, not only did I get charged with a DUI, but it took 6 officers to finally take me down because I flew in from LA to go see my daughter. I flew in from LA Friday Friday night and got up Saturday. I had to go back and solve a 911 issue. So I was flying all the way from California to Atlanta for about 4 hour to have a 4 hour visit with my kid. And, you know, that, and I fell right into it. She knew darn well that me trying to get arrested, obviously was the cop was being paid off or something like that. But um, anyway, that was kind of a recap of how the song came about. Uh, that morning, it was like a miracle. Here I'm actually waiting for a friend of mine who knows music real well to get up and research. Certainly, I did not write that song, and I wanted to find out where this song was coming from, and if someone else wrote it, they stole it from the Doors. Well, it was me. After research with my friend, he said, "Yeah, man, that's your song." And I said, "It can't be. I didn't consciously write it. I don't write music. I can barely write on a piece of paper. My best art was a stick figure that looked like a stick figure person that didn't look like a dog when I tried to draw a human." So uh, I'm a little bewildered, and it's funny, as I didn't really think about the shadow people that I had saw a year and a half before. What happened was that song, all of the anger, all of the stress, I guess, all of the deep concern, um, of my daughter being without me. I mean, of course, I have a concern, but that concern that prompted me to do stupid things was gone. Was gone. And I know my ex knew that I was going to win. In fact, I mean, as all this stuff is happening to me, my last time in jail, the judge in Forsyth County ended up bailing me out himself and announced to the court that stuff's going to stop. I spend all day long looking and hoping that a father will appear to most of the kids that are presented to me. And he said, all this guy's trying to do is be a father, and I'm tired of it. And he said, I know what's going on, and it stops. So you can imagine the looks on their face. The tables had been turned finally a year later, been through hell and back again. And there I was, um, just like as a tennis player, I set the point up and I was there. All I had to do was hit the winner. And I lost all of my anger. In fact, my friend who I met through my ex, uh, he had really wanted me to get her more than me, in a way, because he was very good friends with my daughter, and since he chose my side, my ex made it extremely difficult for him, and a lot of people were looking for me to to get justice. And I called him up and said, listen, man, I can't do this. I'm about to call my lawyer and call off the dogs. I said, no one could believe it. I called my lawyer and said, listen, I need you to, 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 to tell Tanya's side or my ex's side that I am in the process of calling it off. I can't do this. As I never consciously thought about it, flashes of my child came to my head as I'm writing the lyrics down of, my sweet, innocent girl. Really, it's like being born again right now with her. I get to, raise her the way I wanted to be raised, and just the innocence in her. I never could put a finger on it of, you know, um, exactly what I was thinking. I just remember just flashes in my head, and just the conversation that my ex and I had when we decided to try for her, the promises that we made that we would not put her through this. And I remember thinking, I'm going to go through hell. I was going probably to get financially compensated. I had a lot of all of my 401k, which was 90,000, my salary, which was over 200,000. I was out of that. So there was a lot of money coming my way, and I called up and we discussed. We were friends beforehand. We met through tennis, and we were good friends. And this is just not the route that I want to go. And in my head, what kept flashing was just be an example. Just be an example. No matter what happens to you, Rob, just be an example. And boy, I have been through it since then, which will be in the our next series of What is Wrong in the Right Direction. It's going to highlight my time as the pandemic came. As I'm scratching and clawing and getting my way back. I moved for a sales director job down in Fayetteville, an hour away. I'm a sales director of a promotions company. We are the only ones in Hollywood, Atlanta, that have the cameras and the drones that can provide content to Netflix. Netflix is, as if you know, only will accept content with the latest and greatest cameras, and we had it. And the one great thing that I have is that I have a good friend that you guys will get to enjoy. We're going to do segments of this podcast, hopefully a couple times a month, with Dave Di Pietro from Real Cool Entertainment, and he's got a really cool resume. He's been a director of many, many great films with MGM. And, the way that half my career I've been in computers, half of it's been in sales. And the way that I've always sold is I've always tried to be a problem solver. I've always wanted to call on my friends. And so I make friends first. I've never been able to consciously sell somebody, an Eskimo ice. Well, what does an Eskimo need ice for? I've always wanted to sell something that will help. And that's the way that I've always approached things. And he and I became good friends. And he is well respected in the film industry. And so what we will have, hopefully twice, maybe 3 times a month, is that he is going to come on. We are going to discuss what's going on with productions in Atlanta. He's also the director of the theater where the Warner Brothers studio is. He knows a lot of people. So really the goal is I love finding a win-win situation. And the goal is to find a win-win is we want to help people out. As well as is that the way that the budgets are set, for any small to medium to large projects, budgets have shortened and they've gotten smaller. Therefore, it's required, um, it's required production companies, and studios to look in their backyard for talent, which is here in Atlanta, Georgia, or wherever you might be. So there'll be casting calls. He'll go over that stuff that's going on in the theater. What films, for those that want to get investment opportunities. We're going to try, go over the aspect of film financing, which it's just mind blowing. And we were very close. Dave and I were very close. We had already gotten the first tier of financing, and we were on the second tier, and the pandemic hit. So the next series, focusing on spotlighting on my life, which I will be calling this in the future, the spotlight person, in the podcast outside of Dave's segment, is going to be, in the right direction, spotlighted on what is wrong with the right direction podcast. We'll be spotlighting, the second series, which is, what happened, right as we got quarantined. Guess what, folks? You can't make movies when you're quarantined. You can't sell anything when you're quarantined. I had reality shows, all of which I had the movies that were in the second tier, which is the easiest part of financing, and where, people that invested, will start making their money, and where movies start getting produced. Where now you have funds available, but there's nothing you can do when you're quarantined. And so I will discuss, life when that happened, uh, being homeless and working at Kroger. It was, not to knock Kroger, but at one point I was making over $200,000 a year, a professional tennis player with aspirations of millions of dollars a year, and now I'm at Kroger, something that I hadn't done since I was in high school, and nothing against that. Believe me, it's shaped the person that I am now, and I'm very glad that I got humbled, if you will. But through that time of getting kicked out, if you will, in the COVID era, I had also, passed away, through a heat stroke, and I'll get into that. So all of what I'm talking about today is all before, I got to see the man behind the curtain, if you will. Once I passed away, a lot of things made sense. What still hasn't made sense is I'm not very, so today, and I'm rambling, and I know, today, I wanted to go a little bit more in depth on exactly what occurred that day, that I had witnessed these shadow people. And if, anybody, has any information, I haven't researched this. I do know, even through passing away, I do know that, that these things they were not ghostly. Now, I know, uh, I had a feeling beforehand, before passing, and from passing, what ghosts are. I mean, I tell you, people are very selfish in this world, and there's a lot of gray in this world. Even before, um, having crossed, I do know there's a big battle between good and evil. There's a battle between good and evil, and, we tend to, put the gray area in between that and hang our hats on that. And the song, "What Is Wrong with the Right Direction," the lyrics, What is wrong with the right direction? Now, if we go back to me taking my ex-wife to court, yeah, what is wrong with the right direction? Well, that was the direction that I was going to. It's a direction that 99% of the people thought I should go through. But was that the right direction? Was that right for my daughter? No. I don't know if most people would just sacrifice, the years of their life and their namesake, and just to do the right thing for their daughter, and just continue to make an example. What is wrong with life's direction? What is what this song, I want this to be the foundation of the podcast. So when we spotlight people, it's that they're moving in the right direction with the foundation of fitting in the gaps of what is wrong with life's direction. Is it good? Is it evil? God makes it very simple. What we have is free will. Free will between good and evil. People can indulge and a little too much in free will, and therefore you get the gray matter, you get the white area, you get well, I might rob the bank, but I'm going to take 5% of my robbings and give it to the church. That'll make everything okay. Well, no, that doesn't make it okay. You still rob the bank. Oh, well, I'm using God's name to finance, to make my pockets fatter, but I'm at church. That makes it right. No, that's the gray matter, and we'll explain in this next series exactly that those type of people have a special place that I saw when you crossed over. There were four types of people that I saw: folks going to hell, that I knew were going to hell, and I wonder if these demons that I have on the picture and that I saw were those directly related to those type of people. You had me, that were called fellow travelers, going to heaven, and you had people that were in quicksand. That's your bank robber that's going to allocate 5% of his stealings to the church. That's going to make things right. Well, these people that were I saw in quicksand are just so selfish. They just can't. People are selfish in life and in death. When you can't see yourself in the mirror, you can't see God. And a lot of these people were so angry, and a lot of these people just they wanted to total along their car and their status in life, and that just doesn't translate to go with you to heaven. And then you had ghosts. Ghosts couldn't even see the light because they're so consumed with what happened in their own life, and it was sad. They couldn't see us. I could see them, and that's ghosts. But these shadow people. So I remember the day that I got confirmation from uh, my ex's husband's now ex. She called with receipts, with proof of an affair. Okay, I remember I had just flown in from God knows where, um, and I was taking care of my parents' dog, so it was just me. And I was actually had managed. No, actually, this week I had managed to work remotely. So I was doing support. And actually, usually support meant that you had the week off, even though you were getting paid. It just so happened that I had an extremely busy schedule of remote support, and I had to do a little bit of remote training with some administrators. And I remember middle of the night, I heard something. And this is the morning that I found out. This is before, and I hear something in the backyard, and the dog's ears perked up, and I was actually fell asleep in the basement watching a movie, and I look out there, and I saw two people, and I said, "Sons of bitches, what the?" So instantly I'm going, you kind of your fight or flight. I'm thinking, well, who's that? Then me in my paranoid state, um, I'm thinking that my ex's now husband, boyfriend at the time, or a secret lover that wasn't so secret. I'm thinking, being that he's so rich, he's got a PI on me. He's got some kind of detective, or they're trying to get stuff on me. I'm like, really? So I'll be guilty of cracking a beer too early and drinking a beer while I'm on support calls. Okay, you got me. Here, hands are in the air. Uh, I, I'm done. You found me. You know. So I that woke me up, and I walked outside. I took the dog out there, and there was nobody to walk down to the river. Nobody there, and I go back, and that started, planting a seed in my head, like what, okay, what's going on here? And woke up. I had to do some updates on my laptop. Was on with support at headquarters. Everything was normal. Um, I said, well, it's a beautiful day. I'm going to sit outside, crack one open, and I'll get these sessions. I had to do an administrator training session on our reporting software, and I got logged in, beer open, life's good, and I suddenly noticed um, the environment changing. My the the picture that I have is that environment doesn't exist. Those trees don't exist in my parents' backyard, and but the one thing that had occurred before all of this is that about 9:30 in the morning, um, I got a call, and I got confirmation that indeed there was there there was, the date that I thought my ex was in Rome, Georgia, or whatever. She and he were actually, down in Mobile. And so she told me a lot of things that I won't get into, that just it just crushed me. All I could think about was, why can the feeling I had when I had to leave, and my daughter wakes up, where's daddy at? Here's my daughter that used to hide in my suitcase so that I would take her on the plane so she could have free cookies, with the Delta cookies, she used to call them, the Delta cookies. And and I was just, I remember I felt like someone kneed me in the groin. I felt like someone punched me in the stomach. And being that I'm a professional athlete, you can compartment easy for me to say, compartmentalize. I guess you can section things and deal with it later. In tennis, you can win 6-love, but who doesn't lose points on the way? You can win a lot of matches, but you lose a lot of points on the way. So you're able to deal with that at a different time. So um, if I had a lot of unforced errors in a day, all I wanted to do was win the match and go back, and then I could I could address those issues, and fix those, at a time of my choosing. And so, me being the old professional athlete, um, I decided to put that in my pocket and get back to work. And I just know that I was stressed. I felt weird. I was tired. I knew that this was going to come. I knew I would find concrete evidence. So, I haven't done much research on these people, and I watched a documentary um, about 2 weeks ago on these shadow people, this is kind of what prompted me too to do this podcast. Is the stuff that was being discussed on the documentary was almost identical to everything that I experienced. Well, in my picture, there's a wolf-like character, um, and I'll go over the picture here in a second. But so, going back to sitting outside, cold beer. I've put my troubles in my pocket. Uh, I've you know I've got a cold one. I'm gonna I'm gonna tie a little happy buzz on, get my work done, and just move on, and deal with my issue later. And lo and behold, um, my I just noticed, the whole environment changing, and I couldn't put my finger on it. And I go back to thinking, well, wait a minute. Um, what's going on? Does this company, this PI company, have technology to make my environment look different? I'm thinking this is all human based, and also I know that I'm tired and my mind's not right. So I snap a photo. I snap a photo, number one, to see if I can analyze and see anything, and number two, you know, uh, once I slept it off, I guess that I could go back to the photo and realize that I was just hallucinating. And obviously I wasn't, but you know, I got to where I basically had to wrap up the conference call. I'm on the conference call while this is going on. Everything is fairly normal. And I'm sitting there, trying to teach them how to report on their, digital 911 lines for text to 911 as the trees are changing, and I'm seeing stuff in the trees, and I'm going, what the hell is going on? And so at first I'm thinking, well, maybe this is my dad had cameras. They live on the Chattahoochee River. He had cameras for to watch deer at night, and I'm like, well, so I made the stupid mistake of calling my dad and said, hey, you got a bunch of security cameras or something up in the trees? he, he's, what the hell are you talking about? Well, I'm seeing your branches move and change, and I'm wondering if that. And so he's like, are you okay? I said, well, and I told him the news of what I found out. Well, really, they were thinking I was, from what I was explaining, they thought I was losing my mind. And so I snapped a photo, and it's getting worse. I called my friend, and I'm like, hey, this is going on, and I happened to look at the photo, and I'm like, all right, well, maybe I'm hallucinating. I'm seeing this stuff in the photo. This is crazy. I'm seeing faces on the tree, and the face on inside the trunk, which you'll see. Uh, they keep changing each time I scroll in or scroll out. I saw a little devil on the branch, which you'll see. Scrolling in, I see skeletons, and it looks like souls, and my friend's so concerned at this time because he knows he knows that what I've been going through. He instantly thinks I'm just overstressed, and I bring my photo over there, and I remember as I since I was drinking, I was responsible and took an Uber. I remember Uber picking me up, and I remember looking in the backyard trees and seeing these people in the trees and going, and I'm like, what the fuck is that? And again, I'm thinking half of it, I'm thinking that it's people watching me, you know, as far as a private eye. And I'm like, those sons of bitches. At the same time, subconsciously, I'm like, okay, I don't see any ladders. I did walk around. I don't see ladders to get up there. I don't, how is this occurring? I don't see any, you would, if someone's all the way up in the top of a tree, they got to get up there somehow. Are they that good that they can hide evidence? So I'm toggling between, explaining this to my friend, toggling between probably what's not of this world and what is in this world. And, I said, look, I have a picture. Well, of course, he's not really going to look at the picture. He's more looking at me and my demeanor going, what is up with you? And, I remember trying to sell my case going, well, is he following me? Do they have these technology? He kept saying, who is they? I said, I don't know who the they are. I don't know what they are. I said, I know that this, I'm seeing this. And I'm saying, do you see this tree? He says, I see the tree. I said, let me scroll in. And he, wow, I said, this doesn't exist in the backyard. He said, what are you talking about? There's trees in the backyard. Yes, there are trees in the backyard, but those trees don't exist. And those branches don't exist at that certain spot. I've gone back a million times and over. But I have, and again, it's funny. All these things has happened to me twice. It happened a month later, and I really haven't revisited this. So I finally say I'm done. I'm going to take an Uber back, and I'm going to just try to go out there. I remember funneling a couple beers and saying, I'm going to figure out what's going on. I'm going to walk out in the middle of the woods, and I'm going to figure this out. And I remember the Uber guy taking me, and I remember pulling up to the driveway, and I remember seeing in fact, if you guys see the picture of the shadow person, this is after I had gotten home from my friend's house. So there's the deck that winds around from the front all the way to the back, and that was the part of the front where the driveway where the car is. Where I guess I'm standing at, I'm seeing on the deck. I am seeing as I'm pulling up, I'm seeing like a little, like almost like a little version of the devil that's in the tree, standing there, looking at me with a couple other types of shadow people, and I'm sitting there, and we're pulling. So I'm trying to hold a conversation with the driver and pay, and meanwhile I'm looking to see if he sees anything. I see it. He doesn't see it. And I finally pay, and I remember walking up on the deck. I was in rare form. I start sticking the doors on. I said, well, if we're going to all hang out here, we're going to at least listen to some damn good music. And I start playing the Doors. It puts me in that frame of mind. And I remember then I saw two shadow people, just like there were shadows coming out, and they're nasty. They were doing the hibbity dibbity, and they were dancing, and you saw a silhouette of a naked woman, a silhouette of a naked man, and then there was more. I could hear almost like it was a whisper, and I also remember while this was happening, I could have sworn. So I'm still toggling between this world and a private investigator. I remember seeing at the back porch, corner of my eye, I saw someone go into the house, and I ran in the corner of my eye. I see somebody go down to the basement, and I was like, "That son of a bitch!" I run down, and in the corner of my eye, I see this person kind of get cornered where there's no way out, and I said, "Yes!" And I run all the way down to the pool table, and there's nobody there. And I'm going, what the heck is going on? I look all around. I mean, I am like, and I am texting my friend. I said, I think somebody's in the house. Now I think they're in the house. I can't find them. I'm freaking out. Again, I am really not consciously thinking about what I just rolled up to, which was a little devil clown and two other people. And, at this point, I did snap another photo. Well, this event happened for the rest. I mean, of course I couldn't sleep. So now I'm more sleep deprived. And this event, I remember, I, I had, uh, I had seen the next day uh, just groups of people in the trees. I could hear them. I kept hearing the song Werewolves of London. And this happened the second time. Um, and I would walk down by the tree and see you know, if there was a ladder. Meanwhile, I'm still kind of a little hesitant to go right up to it because I don't know what's going on. I didn't know what was going on. Um, and I remember my friend coming over to check on me, and as he's coming over, I'm seeing these ghost-like, uh, just demonic people, and they're waving at me, laughing, and I'm seeing it, and I'm talking to him in the corner of my eye. I'm watching them have a good time by fucking with me. And I'm just like, what the hell is going on here? Um, I had no idea, and here I'm seeing shadow people. I'm thinking there's people breaking in. I'm thinking that, wow, this technology, that this private eye is pretty good. I don't know what to think at this point. And I do know that I had to fly out on Sunday, and I thought to myself, I'm not going to open up these pictures until I'm at the airport. And I know I've slept, and I go to the airport on that Sunday and fly into headquarters in Denver, as I did many times, well, at least once a month. And I open up the picture, and sure as hell, there is exactly what I saw. In fact, that face on the tree, if you look at it, there's the face right where the little devil is, the little monkey man. The face would actually come and look at me on the picture. And I remember opening up. I got a beer at the airport bar. I'm like, okay, certainly this is all going to be done with. I open up the picture and I just see it move and look at me. I'm like, what the hell is going on here? What is going on here? And I'm looking, I'm like, I'm seeing all of this. And I'm like, did somebody break into my phone and do this? So um, for a month, I remember flying out once or twice a week. I open up that photo and things would change in the photo. Not one thing that hasn't changed is that wolf face. A wolf face will change. You will see it. It will be sad. It will be angry, and there's some kind of a blonde hair figure. It looks like at one point it has a knife. I don't know enough about this stuff, and I've you know I've I was hoping that somebody um, could shed some light on this. Again, I haven't really dove into anything since I saw accidentally ran into a documentary on this, and he had the shadow person, the Hat Man, and don't think I really saw the Hat Man, but in the picture, when you scroll up to the sky, you scroll in the background, you see people hanging themselves, you see skeletons, you see just souls, and these are just demonic. And for years, this was what, 2016, and for years I've just kind of shuffled that away as just being, oh my gosh, it's something that I don't know if I want to even touch. I don't know if I even want to know about it. Um, but being that I've been blessed with the song that's been given to me, "What Is Wrong with the Right Direction," I know that I can combat it. Now, I know, I've been in situations where uh, I felt like portals were opening, and I know there was some good and some bad. But I tell you, the bad, it sucks you down this rabbit hole, and you just get consumed. And just like the second time, I saw it was a month later, and I was at my residence. My ex-wife and my child were out of town. I was getting my stuff, and I decided just my folks were back home. I was tired of hearing how crazy I was. They were back at their house. I decided I was just going to sleep at my old place. Well, and and sure enough, that night I hear my name being spoken outside. Um, and I'm like, what is going on? I keep hearing people out there, and I would get stuff in the corner of my eye, and I remember seeing in the window just horrible images. It was somebody laughing at me, and I'm like, what the hell's going on? And the same type of figures that I saw, the shadow people came back. I saw that, and I'm sitting up at night, going back and forth, chasing these demons. And I hear Werewolves of London. Well, out in the distance, we backed up to a cow field that is now it's now a neighborhood. But I kept seeing people in the trees like last time. I kept hearing Werewolves of London, and I was trying to figure out what's going on, and somehow in my fashion, I was figuring, okay, I need to have some kind of a compromise with these people so they leave me alone. And somehow getting sucked into it, I was told to go to an address, and the numbers were given to me by I remember this little tumbleweed kind of coming up with a number in the leaf, and I would see a number in the leaf, and I jotted it down. There I am in my backyard with a piece of paper and a pen, looking at a leaf, getting an address where I was told we could meet. Now, again, same thing happened too, where this is occurring, and I see an actual person in the corner of my eye. I run at it and go face forward, no one there. And so I had actually had doubles plans, which was, playing some tennis was an outlet for me, and canceled my fun time because I had to go to this address, and it took me to a place in Buckhead, Atlanta, called the Wolf Pack. It was a band. I walked in. First of all, I parked. The only place to park my car, I had to go in the wrong way into a fenced-in area, which after the fact, I realized I couldn't get out. My car was stuck in there. The only way to get out was to have somebody open up the other way and drive out the other wrong way. But the address took me to some place called the Wolf Den or the Wolf Pack. I get in there, and it's just like the movies. There's nobody in there, and I'm standing there looking around, and somebody goes, "Hey, what do you need?" It was like a property owner that happened to be there. "What are you looking for?" I'm like, "I'm supposed to meet people here." He said, "Meet people here? There hadn't been anybody in here in years." I mean, it's like, okay. And what's the name? I mean, what a coincidence. So here I'm hearing Werewolves of London. I got a wolf type figure in my picture. It's, for some reason, there's wolf in my head. And I go to an abandoned place called the Wolf Den or the Wolf Pack in the middle of, it's abandoned in Buckhead, Atlanta. It was it was eerie. It was eerie. And I got to tell you, folks, as I would look at the pictures that I had, I didn't really put too much conscious effort. I kind of, put that in my pocket, that experience. I know in the future, especially after the song was given to me, I was able to decipher good and bad through these portals. Um, but I just didn't. Maybe I subconsciously I didn't want to go into depth and find out what all this was about. But I do know that my demeanor, and I'm wondering if anyone else has experienced this. I do know that my demeanor changed. I was so angry. And yes, the part of me that wanted to protect my kid it was valid and good, but the way to do it, it was not. The ways that I was acting, the things that I was saying, um, kind of scared everyone, and it didn't scare me at the time. I thought it was perfectly normal, and I think I equate this to from what I saw in the documentary, these shadow people, these demons, these angels of Satan, they just feed off misery. So if you backtrack, I started seeing these things before I got the news, about the affair, and they fed on it. And I consider myself a pretty darn good person, um, and they were able. I mean, I was almost like thinking like, okay, I'll rob the bank and take 5% and donate to the church, and that'll be okay. It was that type of rationale. And it was when I was given the song, "What is Wrong with the Right Direction." um it was like such a big weight lifted off me. I lost all my anger. I lost all. I mean, I forgave. In fact, I even wept. I felt sorry for my ex. I wept and felt sorry for her. Completely 110% forgave her, and was willing and able and gladly willing to you know crawl out of this hole that had been buried, that had collapsed, barely had enough oxygen in my hole to breathe, let alone live. I was gladly going to do that. And what's interesting is one thing that I know, God is so creative. Um, so if we fast forward to the song, well, you know, I have always tried to listen for God. He's very creative. Now, what in the world is going to get my butt out of bed and pop up like toast, especially the night that I'm listening to the LA Woman recordings that had just been released? It's a Door song that I haven't heard. Okay, how creative is that? He used that as the hook to wake me up and get me thinking. There's where I go looking, for where is this coming from. And second of all, in the song, it's interesting, and it didn't dawn on me till later that afternoon, where I looked at the lyrics. I started analyzing the stuff. um, it says, what is wrong with life's redemption? Well, folks, I would never use the word redemption ever. People, and I don't care if you're a Bob Marley fan, that's fine. But the three greatest are Jimi Hendrix, Janis Joplin, of course, the greatest is Jim Morrison. To put Bob Marley in the same category with those people, and I'm sorry, Kurt Cobain is the same. No, okay. Everybody tries to be like Jim Morrison, and everybody tries to play guitar like Jimi Hendrix. No, people are putting that in that category, in the same sentence with those people. It makes me cringe. And I would never use the word redemption because it reminds me of the Redemption song by Bob Marley. Therefore, I don't care if it was the perfect rhyme, the perfect thing to say in a song. I still would not have done it because I'm loyal to Jim Morrison. Would never have done it. And it's creative because that right there, I know I didn't write. It was handed to me, And even when I was writing it down, I remember thinking, what is wrong with life's redemption to get you back in the right connection? It's such a good question. What are you going to do are you going to redeem yourself and look good for society just to get you back in the connection, the crowd of people, the status of people you should be with? What is wrong with that? Well, I'll tell you what's wrong with it. It doesn't fit in with good versus evil. Okay. It fits in the gray. In fact, it goes towards evil. Okay. So what is wrong with my redemption? To make everything better would have been in front of my daughter to for me to expose what her mother did, for me to expose what her now stepfather did, for me to take what I thought was due to me financially. Is it really my job to do that? No. That's God's job. That's Jesus's job. It's not, it's funny. And this is why I'm doing the podcast. I have so many people that I've talked to and told snippets about this. We talk about it, and I said, geez, I see people, and I just know that there's no help. And I could tell them about this and tell them that they're going to end up in quicksand until further, till they can look at themselves in the mirror. I know people, no matter what, will not look at themselves in the mirror. I've talked to people, and it's like, we say, well, what can one man do? What can one man do? Well, the only thing that I know that I can do is I can broadcast what's happened to me, the way that I felt. Since then I have just done the right thing. I can't wait to, in the next series, to tell you the message I received from the other side. And if you look at my past, becoming a professional athlete, anyone that's been at that top level knows you have an interesting mindset. Perfection. You strive for the grand slam all the time, a grand slam or nothing. And to think about where I'm at as a manager of a major store and gas station chain that's very popular in our area, that might not meet the criteria that I had as I'm hitting 1,000,000 balls at 15 years old. I don't think I'm going to make $1 million doing that. However, what I'm doing now um, allows me a lot more time that I can with my daughter. And so this podcast, I there's so many things that are kind of, I know, up in the air. How can I use my story to help others? And find a win-win here. Is my story film worthy? Is my story book worthy? Is the great thing is I've been holding on to this stuff because I really haven't had an ending yet. Here, basically, what's happened is I've left it since June of 2020, where I pass away from a heat stroke, get out of the hospital 6 days later, and I've been revived 3 times. That's a whole story in itself, and I'm homeless. And by the way, I will post video. I have videos. I documented it. I'm smart enough to do that. What this is just, I want this as a platform to help. But I've held on to this. I've been praying to see what to do with it. But but there was nothing really after the fact that I started. I got a place. I became a manager of Kroger, so on and so forth, and there was nothing really. Um, there was no exclamation point to put on after all of the stuff has occurred, and now we have a chance, by doing this, to keep this unique story going. Um, Currently, I'm also going to involve. I am very lucky. I swore. I dated right after I left Tanya. I dated for about a year, several people, and it always the same thing always happened. It was a nightmare, and it reminded me too much of getting involved and then having to leave, and the look of my daughter's face as I walk out with my suitcase. She's thinking I'm going back to Denver, as she would say. You going back to Denver, Daddy? And so I decided I decided just to be dad, and to work and to be dad, and I was very happy with that, because anything was better than sitting in a jail cell, while you're supposed to be on a plane flying to Iowa to solve a major issue, and save people's lives. I was very very happy with just being dad and working, and I have met a beautiful person, Angel from the Philippines, through the weirdest way. Of course, her name is Angel. That's a good thing. If it was named Shadow Person, I would have to run. But I have met her through an outlet that I normally would never do, which ended up I ended up I'm a big fisherman, and I'm in Facebook groups, with boating groups, and somehow a friend of mine through these groups was a friend of hers, and she found me, and so this will be a continued story too. We are in the process of trying to get her here to the United States. We will also take any advice about how that occurs as well. But so in the and as of if you fast forward to the present, here we got a platform to use my life as an example to recruit other people that might be going through this type of stuff, whether it's homelessness and despair and no hope. Well, there's a lesson and there's a blessing with all the misery, and you got to have your ear out, for God, for the right thing to do. He is creative. You just got to get up out of bed and write the lyrics down. Um, so uh, I just hope that like I have said, I want to open up. If these bastards can open up a portal of bad, well, by golly, we're going to open up a portal of good. And so I've got a lot of really cool things, and just enjoy. Um, I enjoy, as I get to know Angel. I can't wait for her to get here. This is something that just seemed to be handed to us from God. It just seemed right, and I swore off anyone. I wasn't going to do it. I wasn't going to, especially, no offense, American women. I just felt like I clashed. Um, and I guess, it's just something pretty cool. So this will also be documented, you know, the ongoing story of bringing her here. Probably we'll do a marriage online. And again, if anyone out there has suggestions on the best way to get her here as a U.S. citizen and the quickest and safest fashion, we are all ears. But and in closing here on what is wrong with the right direction, um, you know, again, I do want to spotlight either someone that's gone through a similar. This is kind of an open forum too, by the way. My my life, like I said, there's 5 genres. You got action, sports, paranormal, horror. There's fiction because you can't make this stuff up. Romance, uh, you know, and drama. So I'm looking to spotlight either someone too that's been through this type of stuff, um, especially someone that's like me, um, who was pretty naive to these shadow people, and really just this message from God is trumped any evil. I could see evil, and I make mistakes every day. It's not like I'm saying everyone that gets a message from God is an instant saint. It's not. It's not. But you can say, "Gee whiz, I screwed up." When you can look in the mirror, then you can bring your sins to the Lord. And I'm not a preacher, just like I'm not a writer of songs. I'm just delivering messages that had been displayed to me, and just what can one man do? Can one man change anything? Well, all I can do is showcase my story, what's happened to me, and hope that that someone else is that they're so selfish, and that they're blinded by this anger like I was, that they lose the anger, and they can feel the feeling of um, forgiveness, of being able to forgive someone wholeheartedly and almost feel sorry for them, because they're going to need to bring their sins and forgiveness, and look at themselves in the mirror. There's 2 sides to every story, and I don't think anyone is ever 100% correct. I think we all make mistakes. And I fully hope that my story um, inspires people, or sheds light on anyone that's gone anything from homelessness to being on a conference call and witnessing shadow people, and I got the photos of it. If you're going through that, then just you got to open your heart to God. What is wrong with the right direction? You can ask yourself, what is wrong? You know, I society says this is the right direction to go, because this happened to me. There is a time for an eye for an eye. There is a time for that. Just like the Birds did the song "Turn, Turn, Turn." That's a great song. Um, in fact, I've had that song play numerous times on its own. All of this, there is a time for that. If somebody were to come in and break in the house and hurt me, well, there's an eye for an eye. I'm going to kick someone's ass. You're damn right. Someone's acting like a jackass at one of my stores. Yeah, I think a good ass kicking is in favor right there. I absolutely. I'm not going to. I think some people. There's certain situations that depict on what needs to be done in order for them to be able to turn around and do a 180. But you know, um, I just hope that anybody that is going through uh, their worst of downs can listen and understand that it's not like Burger King though, folks. You're not it's not your way right away. Okay, you're not ordering a number 2 combo with God, and expect to go to the drive-through and have it given to you in a nice bag. These lessons, it could take time, and like I have said, I've held on to this stuff since since starting in 2017. Got the song handed to me, and gosh, before the pandemic, a year, so like 2018, 2000, so um, it's I have again, I just haven't known what to do with it. And if anybody is musical, wants to help, put this song into my words, the tune, and like the Doors did, Jim did. He hummed the tune, and the song came. This is an open platform. Um, I I just want I just want to open up the portal of good, and see what happens. And good thing is you know through my turmoil, slight stint as director of productions, before the quarantine, is I've got a good friend, and Dave Di Pietro. People fly all over the world and pay $1,000 uh, a ticket to hear him speak, and he and I talk all the time. And both of us, he's brilliant. He knows how to write these extravagant stories and direct. He's a writer director. Um, but the one thing, that I come into is I have a way to find a win-win and sell it. And in selling this, we're also going to be able to provide um, opportunities. That he's got the beat on all the productions going on, in Georgia, and if anyone wants to be an actor or an actress, they're we're going in the backyard to get talent. It's cost prohibitive to be able to do a production with the smaller budgets, with actors and actresses and production crews from here, rather than have to go to LA and get someone that's been a little bit, that's got more on their reel, if you will, which is going to be really more expensive. So that's kind of, the direction that we're going to go. We're going to finish showcasing my life. Hopefully someone hears this and wants to help and use this as a means to inspire other people, as a means that, hey, this guy's been a professional tennis player through a horrible childhood, has witnessed these portals being open, and probably, I say, was affected by these demons of evil, and almost really screwed up, but still had an ear out for God, where, thank God he handed me that song. It just I can't express the feeling of the full forgiveness, and it's amazing, and opens your eyes to so many other things, and so many other things are presented that you might have never have looked at beforehand. And so that's the goal. Now, going to the photo real quick, you can see this photo. You can also go to the Podbeam. And by the way, I'm using all of this. I'm live. I will be using these audio clips. I'm putting it together, and then I will put these on the other podcast platforms. So this is kind of a work in progress, but I am using Podbeam, and I have on the Podbeam website, which is, hold on, let's see if I can copy this and send this out. Okay, so we're going to post this, and this is where the picture is. And I also have it up on, I have it up here. So if you've got Google Photos, If you go to my about section, you can see it. But basically, if you go to the picture that's got the woods there that really don't exist, um, and hold on, let me get to it. Let me get to my file here. I always kind of cringe opening these up, and it's funny. Every time I open these up, I get issues with electricity. I've gotten bloody noses. I don't. They don't. I guess they don't really like me exposing their bullshit. Um, if you open it up, you'll instantly see a main tree there with a branch off to the left. Well, up above that branch, you will see, and that was the face that was telling you inside the tree that it would look right at me when I would open up my photos when I first took this. And it's an almost an angry looking face with eyes looking forward. And then if you look where the branch is directly, there's that little devil thing. And it's actually flicking the camera off. He's got a horrible haircut too, by the way. Just man needs to go to the supercuts or anything. I mean, I think he'd get turned down at a barber shop. They wouldn't even touch that son of a bitch. But if you see all the way down through that the main trunk of the tree, you have various faces. So as I'm on the conference call, I'm just watching things change. I'm watching my environment change. But to the right, down to the right of the main tree, um, you see the wolf face in there, and it's got green. It looks like it's got green eyes, and then and to the right of it, you got that figure with it's almost got blonde hair. It almost looks like it's got a helmet on, or right now with it without scrolling in, it looks like a helmet with horns on it. It's pretty nasty. And when you scroll in, you'll see that face. Now it looks pretty pissed off at me right now. As I'm looking, it's looking like, oh, you're exposing us, you son of a bitch. Well, screw you. You know, we're opening up a portal of good. The any blue that might appear like the sky through the trees, scroll in there, and that's wicked. Um, Up above the wolf man, you've got some part of the tree. It looks like it's got sunglasses on. You've got skeletons um, in the background. You've just got souls. And these pictures seem to change each time I open it up. You got a moon looking character. This guy, it's interesting. I thought I saw this when I passed, when I had the heat stroke. But there is all sorts of um, just weird um, things that are unexplainable that I was witnessing transform kind of in front of my eyes on a conference call dealing with reporting 911 calls. By the way, this was going on. I was like, okay. And yeah, as you scroll in, you'll see more. Main thing is that little devil. And I saw that as a demon when I got back from my friend's house, trying to show him and explain this picture. Um, I only saw really the faces in the tree and the little devil, but nobody would listen to me. Now that you have a picture also of a of the shadow. Now I took this. This is really interesting, and I just noticed this the other day or yesterday, that in that picture of the shadow, um, okay, so that's not my shadow. I'm off to the right. I'm under an umbrella that's with some some furniture. I'm under an umbrella. I think I even timed my picture, if I remember, maybe not, but I know that there was absolutely no way um, that there was any light flashing on me to get a shadow. Number one, number two, I wasn't. If it was my shadow, uh, I'm scrunched over. Uh, it doesn't have the shadow. It doesn't look like this shadow's taking a picture. I am off to the right. This is to the left. If there was a shadow of me, it would have been in front of me, and it would look different. But you see that um, there's a glare. Almost looks like a to the left. It almost seems something is there. Now, what's funny is that there's a bush to the right, and it almost looks like it's coming out to say hello in the picture. Now, that bush doesn't exist. That's another thing. Now, these are not Photoshop. I'm not good enough, and anybody's welcome. I will send these. Welcome to take a look at them and take a look for yourself, and you can see if any of these were shop. I don't have that on my resume to do that. Um, Nor do I have the time. So these shadows were dancing. I played the Doors just to get, I'm thinking either I'm going to have fun with this because I'm hallucinating, I'm going to put myself, as Jim would do, in a frame of mind. Um, I'm not going to let these people scare me, and I'm gonna control my fun time without these bastards. But there were several of those, and they were doing it was like Studio 54 for these guys. I saw a naked female with a naked guy, and they were dancing. I should have taken video. You're kind of in a trance when all this happens too, by the way. And I think too that since this is, I think up until seeing the documentary, I think I've tried to block this stuff out. I haven't looked at these photos in years, even though I've gone through what I've gone through and have thought about my song. I think about my song all the time. I don't reference my song in conjunction with these nasty, blood sucking, pain eating uh, bastards. The hell with them. We're opening up a portal of good. And that's the only way to combat these people. Don't let them take your personality. Don't let them uh, steer you in the wrong direction. Remember, what is wrong with the right direction? If you are in a crossroads and 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 you think you are doing something right in a really bad situation where there's good and evil presented, ask yourself, what is wrong with the right direction? Is it good? Is it evil? That's what it comes down to. And remember, there's your free will. Free will that allows you. That allows you. You can certainly go down the wrong path that you have all the right to via free will. And and too many times people get drunk off of free will. But go ahead, take a look at the photos. You can also let me get my email here. So if you go to, let me get to the website. One thing certain. Website. And again, this is a work in progress. Let me copy the link. Or just go. Let me get on Podbeam. Okay. Let's see here. Podcast dashboard. Go into my dashboard. Got to sign back in. My email is rwb the rt for right direction 23 at gmail.com. And if I can ever figure out how to get to my dang. Oh, okay, wait. I think I got it. Okay, take me to my website, please. Okay. Website is www.rwbthert direction 23.podbeam.com. You'll get the picture, a link to the pictures on the website. And you'll have my email address. And I hope to hear from y'all. And if there's anyone that we can spotlight in the right direction, let me know. Let me know if you know. Again, this is an open platform. We're going to try to use this as good. We're going to try to use. If you can help somebody, then do it. You know, this is our network we're building. We're going to move in the right direction of good, and trying to trump these portals of demons. You know, we're going to use this to educate and inform and everybody on the right direction, which combats all of this. And we'll use this platform. You know, like I said, I've heard too many times, what can one man do? Well, this is what I'm doing. I'm trying to set a platform, that we can see how make a bridge. I'm trying to build a bridge that people can cross over and cross over and do the right thing, or cross over and fix their lives, or whatever. This is an open platform. Stay tuned for updates on when David Di Pietro is going to join us. I am using this to put the audio together before I send it out to various other podcast channels. I am new at this, so it takes me a little while, but stay tuned for when we'll have a segment with Dave Di Pietro, which will highlight opportunities that and all the productions that are happening here in Atlanta. That's going to be kind of a separate segment to this podcast. And if anybody has any insight on my pictures, what is the significance of this wolf thing there? What is the significance? Has anyone seen that little devil? What do you think about the song that was so creatively handed to me, and the disguise of an unreleased Doors song that I thought it was? What can we do to help other people out? So this is the work in progress. The bridge is being constructed, if you will. And I'm going to be interested to see how this transforms. I'm excited. I'm excited because finally I feel a calling to get all of this stuff that's happened to me, and all of the raw data that I have, which is a song that I didn't write, but I guess I wrote, that took away all my anger, plus a picture of this portal being formed when I didn't know if it was people spying on me versus me hallucinating versus so I any info on that would be fantastic. So stay tuned. we will. I will come up with some hard dates when Dave's coming on, and also we're hopping into the next part of the series, which is gonna highlight my time uh, as we just got quarantined, as my life has just thought my life was getting better, and back, bam, you're down, the hole. You got smacked 10 feet back again, and not only that, people that you thought you trusted were really an aid to your death, to why you crossed over, to why you were homeless, and what was the message when you crossed over. So we'll get into all of that, and I have video of I'll post some video of when I was homeless. um, I will say on a side note, thank God I watched a lot of Naked and Afraid, because that certainly helped me with some of the things I was doing. I had been binging before the pandemic on Naked and Afraid, so I did try to make the best of it. And boy, my grill that I made was fantastic. Um, but I really look forward to venturing together with this. And and if you guys have any questions, feel free to email me rwbthertdirection23@gmail.com. And I will leave you with what is right with the wrong direction, what is right in life's direction, what is wrong with life's redemption. Remember, I would never have used that lyric to get you back in life's connection. Right is wrong, wrong is right. Something's wrong with life's direction. Yeah, yeah, yeah. AMF. Adios, my friends. Take care, be well, be safe.